Welcome to the Paul Whatley Team Real Estate Podcast here on YouTube, where our goal is to help you live a better life by removing the guesswork of real estate and home ownership. In each episode, our team and guests are going to discuss current events, our personal real estate experiences, and insights that will help you move closer to achieving the home and life you dream of. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with our latest news and information. Hi, my name is Paul Whatley with the Paul Whatley Team at Climb May Realty, and I'm joined today with Matt Weston again. And in this episode, we're actually going to continue to talk about the real estate market, in particular, just how fast inventory is moving and the impact that it's having for both buyers and sellers. We're also going to be discussing the advantages and benefits of selling your home during the wintertime, as well as how you can prepare your home to sell this winter and this spring. And finally, we're going to talk about what's going on in our community, getting ready for Super Bowl Sunday, maybe a tip on a good place to catch the game, as well as maybe what's on the menu at the Weston House. The last couple of updates, we've actually been talking a good bit about interest rates, and that is still a very popular topic, and we're continuing to see real estate or mortgage interest rates to be very dynamic, especially on the heels of some of the information from the Fed committee and what they're looking at in terms of, trying to control for that inflation. That also plays into what we're talking about in terms of real estate inventory. Now, for 3 years, we've continuously been hearing that inventory is low, and that scared off a lot of people, in this market. Wouldn't you say, Matt?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are hesitant because they're checking, third-party sites, Realtor, Zillow in the evenings, and there's just nothing really out there at the time that they're looking. So that gives them the perception that there isn't anything out there ever.
Right, and so we see it in the news a lot, and so we kind of wanted to be able to address why is that the case? Well, one of the first things you have to realize is that most of these news outlets, what they're doing is they're only looking at what our inventory levels are at maybe once a week or even once a month in some cases. And what we're seeing is that at any given point in time, it is correct. There's not a whole lot on the market. However, a better description of our inventory is that it's very fast. We're seeing in between the time that a reporter might be looking at the real estate market and looking at inventory, in between the time they look at it, in January and when they look at it again in February, there have already been a number of homes that have come on the market, gone off the market, and with the number of cash buyers, a lot of those homes may have actually even closed before reporters and researchers are actually collecting the up-to-date data. And if you want proof of this, just look at the fact that we've actually been selling more homes in 2021 than we did in 2020, and we sold more in 2020 than we did in 2019. And let's face it, let's be honest, people, you can't sell what you don't have. If inventory is really that low, then you wouldn't be able to sell more homes each year. And so I think that's why we use the description of inventory is very fast. So why is that? Why is inventory moving so quickly? Well, there's actually a generational explanation for this. When you break it down, we have the two largest generations in history, which is the millennial generation and Gen Z, that are coming of age and buying their first home, and in some cases their second home, right now. And this is happening on the heels and at the same time that we see the baby boomer generation is starting to vacate their home. They're downsizing, they're moving into retirement communities. And so as you have, baby boomers, the third largest generation in history, starting to make homes available because they're moving out or moving away, downsizing, whatever the case may be, that's happening at the same time that you're seeing the millennials buying their first and some millennials buying their second home as they're a little bit older. And then Gen Z, who are, in their mid-20s right now, actually starting to buy their first home. So
yeah, it's actually a really interesting point because now that you say it, looking back, the majority of my buyer clients, vast majority, have been either looking for their first home or what they perceive to be will be their last home. So I think that's a good reason to ask, is it still a good time to sell your home here in 2022?
What makes now such a good time to sell is because, again, we have the two largest generations in history coming of age. So most of your millennials, some of the younger millennials are buying their first home, and then you've got a lot of older millennials that are in their mid to late 30s that are starting to buy that second home. And so with that, there are a lot of buyers, and that's what's really driving the speed of this market, is the fact that it's such a high demand. There's such a large number of buyers that are in the market. And I think that's also why, even though interest rates are coming up, that we're going to continue to see a pretty robust real estate market.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think given that peak buyer demand, if you're in a position that you're ready to sell your house now, you might want to consider doing so in the winter. It's a common perception that selling in the winter is not an ideal time, and that might not be true for you, because if you look at the facts, there's two major reasons why selling your house in the winter could pay off for you. Number one, you may have a concentration of more serious buyers. Number two, there's going to be overall less inventory, which would draw attention away from your house. So if you've got more concentrated buyers, that means people that are coming out during the cold weather, snowy weather, they're coming out when it's getting dark out, trying to get there after work to do a showing. I mean, they're serious about buying. They're actually looking, because they're going through a process that's not near as fun as just window shopping when the weather's nice over the summer. The second part of that is we see lower inventory over the winter, much to do with the stigma that it's not a good time to sell. And so since there's less houses that may be competing with yours could be highlighted in a buyer's eye if you've prepared it well and you've priced it well. So it could be a good advantage to you if you decide to sell in the winter, whereas I think overall it's kind of a stereotype that isn't true, that it's not an ideal time to sell.
Matt, I think you actually bring up some great points. The winter time, during the colder months, is definitely still a great time to sell, especially since we do have that peak buyer demand going on right now. So, Matt, sellers getting ready, saying, hey, great, it is a good time to sell. I want to make sure I'm on the market here in the next, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. What are one or two questions that they should really be thinking about as they're making that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk a lot about preparing your house physically, but it's also just as essential to prepare yourself to sell as it is to prepare your house to be sold. Two major questions you want to know the answer to right away when you're considering selling are, number one, what is your next move going to be? And number two, what is your overall goal for the transaction, be it getting the most financial gain off of your investment, getting the highest money for the sale, or having the quickest sale and making it smooth and convenient for your life. Obviously, it all comes down to what's going to work for you. Those two questions, when you know the answers to them, that's going to dictate the entire process and exactly how you should prepare your house, how you should market it, and how you're going to sell it ultimately. So I think when you're starting to think about that is a great time to reach out to us. We can help you kind of define those goals and figure out, what are the options, what are the outcomes. So obviously, there's a number of ways that you can go about preparing your house, go about marketing and selling it. It all comes down to what's going to work best for you. So we'll help you discuss, walk through. Sometimes it helps to have somebody be able to do that conversation with you, so you can kind of pull out your true intentions and things that you really want and be able to narrow that down.
When it comes to selling your home, it's really as easy as just 1, 2, 3. We want to prep it, make sure that it's ready for the market. We want to list it, so we want to market it and position your home so that it's on the market and competing in a way that's actually going to help you to achieve your goals. And then we're going to sell it, which is getting you from contract to closing as smooth as possible. And so taking the guesswork out of that process is really what we're here to do, is to help guide you through that process. So the next thing to talk about is, of course, getting ready for the Super Bowl. Matt, what are your plans for the Super Bowl?
I haven't set them in stone yet, but I'm thinking I'm going to invite our friends over, my wife and I's friends, to our house. I love cooking, so I'm going to put together some appetizers. One of my staples is jalapeno poppers, stuff them with some cream cheese, bacon, a little cheese, and some breadcrumbs on top. Excellent. That's my staple. I've been trying out some other stuff, though. Might do like a shrimp dip. Did some stuffed mushrooms this past weekend that were a hit, so might bring those back for the big game. I'm excited.
Yeah, I stick to the classics. I like my Doritos, and some wings. And one of my favorite things to do for Super Bowl Sunday is just like some barbecue sliders. Get some smoked barbecue, Carolina style barbecue. Makes for a really good, just handheld, food to have during Super Bowl Sunday. And I think it's actually going to be a really good game. So we saw just some amazing playoff games between.
Incredible games.
Yes. I have a feeling like it's going to be the Rams. I got to pull for the Georgia boy, Matthew Stafford. I think this could be his year.
Yeah, I agree. You know me. I'm all about movies and books and history, so I'm really into the story of the games. And I think this game has so many great storylines. You've got Matthew Stafford, who suffered through a long career of really just being out of the spotlight when he's actually been producing and put up great stats. Now he gets the chance to go for that ring that's been eluding him
his
for so
first
long.
year in LA,
Yep.
and we're in the Super Bowl. I mean,
In his home stadium.
yes,
In their home city. I mean, it's an incredible story. And then, halftime show, they got all the hip hop stars that are from the area in California. It's real set up for the Rams. But then on the other side, you have the story of Joe Burrow, second year in the NFL, taking the Cincinnati Bengals, who had 2 wins before they picked him, to the Super Bowl. And not only to the Super Bowl, I mean, this year being in the playoffs was their first time in 30 years or something like that. So he just went right through all the barriers, just smashed it and took it right to the Super Bowl. So,
and if he does it, if the Bengals and Joe Burrow actually pull this off, he's going to be in a rare breed, because that will make him only the third quarterback to have ever won a NCAA national championship and a Super Bowl. So he'd be there with Joe Montana and Joe Namath.
And actually, even further to that point, he'll be the first one who won a Heisman, NCAA championship, and Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness! So we have 2 great storylines, and that's what it's really about. I mean, just having a great story, and I think it's going to make for a very interesting game. Hey, thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. If you found this entertaining, helpful, make sure you hit that like button. Also subscribe and hit that bell for those notifications. We're going to continue to put these out on a regular basis. Because our goal is to help connect you with information and resources that are going to take the guesswork out of the process of buying and selling real estate. So we look forward to talking to you next time. And if you have questions or comments, make sure you leave those in the comments below, and we'll respond to you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.